It's time for another Dice Tower review with the Chief, Bart Brunsheen.
Hi, this is the Chief from the Dice Tower. Today we're going to go in and take a closer look at one of the firefights from Awakening the Bear, the second printing, the brand new game from Academy Games. This firefight deals with the NKVD and the defensive mirror. Just a little side note, the NKVD are like the German Gestapo. Oddly enough, found out in some research, they actually met together once. They're powers that be. They met in 1940 to decide how they were going to deal with Poland. First of all, lucky Poland. Second of all, I wonder, do you think the NKVD and the Gestapo had coffee and donuts? I don't know. That's one scary group of guys getting together for a meeting. So, but let's go in and take a look at this firefight. Here we have the cover for the Awakening the Bear firefight book. And I'm going to show you how well these firefights are displayed here. So you can see two of them. I'm going to zoom in on what we're looking at here. All right, I know we're probably not close enough to see the full text, but you can see how clearly it's labeled. You're numbered and you're titled. You get into some real nice historical context, and then it goes into some actual history. They include the general situation and the aftermath. So you get the full historic feel of what happened. Then you get into the meat of what the firefight book has to do. This particular scenario will actually handle 2 to 4 players. It works really well. It's a simple scenario that uses just ground foot troops. There's no tanks or anti-tank guns or anything. There are some machine guns. You get into the breakout on, how many caps and some of the special rules and reinforcements and how the map itself will be set up. And it tells you then where the units are going to go. And then you get a real nice breakout here of the exact kind of troops you need, where you're going to be placing them. So you can see you've got 2 rifle units. One's going to go in H13, the other one in H17. Does the same thing for the Russians. So it's very clear, very easy to follow. You get a beautiful recreation of the map. So it also not only tells you where they're going to go, it shows you where they're going to go. Just awesome. You'll also notice that they've highlighted some areas in this game. There are some reinforcements that will be coming into the map, and it tells you between which hexes, but then it shows you with the yellow lines. There's also units in the very first turn that are going to come on from this area of the map. You get to see your control points, and the map tells you if the Russians get this, they're going to get a victory point. And if the Germans can take this control point, they're going to get a victory point. And then the final thing to show you is they actually walk you through the different rounds. This firefight's going to take 5 rounds, and there's some things that will change as the game goes. Russians start with the initiative. After that, you'll be rolling for initiative to see who has it. But it covers, again, control of victory points. The command action points go up for the Germans if they continue to hold on to their main control point that's at these crossroads here. And that's all broken out here right down to firefight ends. APs. I'm going to show you my favorite AP system in here. I did a breakout video on my very first covering of Awakening the Bear, but I want to show you what I use, and it's the only way I use it. Again, the default is you can start with 7. I would encourage you to move away from that unless it's your first few games. They've highlighted it. The second version is you roll 2 dice and you just get to go wherever it is. The better system, I have a dice box. I roll, it's kept hidden from my opponent, but I take a peek and I means test it. So in this case, I would get rid of the 4. So I would only add my highest and lowest numbered die for a total of 7. I would keep that hidden. My opponent would not know that. I'll verify it with him when I'm done. And my AP marker stays at 0. But as I use my action points, and I'll show you again for those that haven't played the game when we get in tighter on the map, I'll show you how APs are used. They're basically used to move and shoot. They can do a few other things in terms of card play and stuff, but mostly moving and shooting. And as you use your APs, you simply track the use of them. And when you get to, in this case, I had 7, and I go ahead and deactivate and spend that unit, I would then show my opponent, this is what I had. So, and the means testing keeps things in relative order. You don't have too many crazy swings of the dice. So, the best system, highly encourage you to use it. Enough said. Here's the action. You can see right off the bat, you have the Russians pre-set up. You've got a Maxim machine gun, control point, a submachine gun unit, very short range, but if you get in close with them, they're very deadly. And this is the NKVD unit. The Russians are kind of set up in 2 sections. Or sorry, the Germans are set up in 2 sections. And there's going to be reinforcements that are trying to break out, and they're going to be coming onto the map from this side. I'm not going to kind of walk you through exactly how my game went when I played this, but I can tell you my opponent used the units that were coming in down on this side of the map to really close in. He basically role-played the NKVD, making his units do some very risky open field maneuvers and closing in and starting to pin down my units by physically engaging in close combat. There's no mechanized units here, there's no tanks, and he did an excellent job of closing with me. I was unable to hit him effectively, and he did end up winning this particular match. I want to talk real quick about range. If these 2 units were set up as they are, they would be well within range of each other. You can see the range for the rifle unit is 5, of course 12 for the heavy MG, 5 for the Russian unit. However, the second we closed into this range, this would be considered short range. It's no longer standard, and the attacking unit, whichever one was attacking, let's just say this rifle squad was attacking the Russians in the open field. Assuming they hadn't moved this turn, I would have to get 13 to hit them, but I'm going to get a bonus 3 for them being in such close range. So to walk through again, I would use 3 APs. I would get a bonus 2 to my dice roll, plus a bonus 3 since they're in short range, and I would roll, and I'm facing their front, so I would have to get a 13 or greater in order to hit them. A very cool thing, if you hit a unit, you don't automatically do damage to them. You have to draw a damaged chit. I just have it in a little cup. You blindly come in and you pull out a damage token, and this one would be suppressed, and you could see in this case it would cost 1 more for this unit to fire, and it would be -2 on their effectiveness when they do fire. And in order to rally this unit, which means get rid of this token and get them back to their normal rankings, I would have to spend 5 of my APs and then roll 2 dice and equal or exceed 7. I can use caps to modify that if I would like to. Now, this would go onto the unit. I wouldn't know what the marker was unless the unit fired on me or moved or took some type of action. If I hit this unit again and he receives any other tokens, 2 tokens, and the unit is removed from the board. It's either killed, it's inactive, they've run, whatever. The chit drawing system, very nice. All right, I hope this gave you a nice little overview of how some of the inner workings of Mr. Eichert's system work. I highly encourage you to, if you own the game, begin using some of these optional variable rules. They really bring the game to life. I had one friend that he'd played Awakening the Bear once, and he got into a deal where it was kind of a cat and mouse, where he and an opponent were just kind of taking turns and moving around a building and trying to get a shot at each other. And that was because they were both using the default 7 APs, and they knew exactly how much, APs the other guy had, and they just kept maneuvering. It was like chasing each other, two dogs chasing each other around a tree. I explained to him some of the variable rules for that and how it completely solves that problem. He appreciated it.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.